Hello YouTube. This is a video response for Zach at the Satanic International channel here on YouTube. And Zach, I have to say that you put out some pretty awesome videos here on YouTube. And when you put out the one video talking about the Satanic Panic that happened back in the early 80s, I had to post a video response. I remember the Satanic Panic like it happened yesterday. Excuse me. And I remember watching this one show that was on TV. I believe it was this 700 Club, or a show similar to the 700 Club. And basically on the show they were saying that all of these heavy metal bands that were out during the time were basically in league with the devil, or they were trying to get young kids to commit suicide, or something silly like that. And one of the things that sort of cracked me up is they were saying that they were putting these backward messages on their albums, which made no sense whatsoever to me. Apparently these backward messages said things like, go out and kill yourself, or kill your neighbor's cat and drink his blood, or something as ridiculous as that. And one of the reasons why this just did not make any sense to me is because if I was an artist, especially back then, which I am an artist, but if I was making music back then, the last thing I would put on the album would be to have my fans kill themselves. What would be the point of that? If your fans go out and kill themselves, they can't buy records, right? If you're gonna put something on, a secret backward message on the, backwards on an album, wouldn't it be something to the effect of, buy my music, make me a millionaire, or something, like that, or give me money? But I guess you had to be there. You had to have understood the mindset of what was happening back then. Anyway, one of the albums that this religious program was picking on was an album called not Disturbing the Peace. It was called Born Again. And on this album, it had a picture of a baby, and the baby in the picture was red, and the baby had these superimposed little devil horns on his head. And a lot of the Christians who saw this album, it pissed them off, and because they were basically making fun of, the fact that when you become a Christian, you're born again. So I guess they sort of took it as if you become a devil worshiper, you're born again, or a Satanist, or this and that and other. What they didn't understand was a lot of these bands were basically having fun with this, and they knew that if they came out with an album cover like this or something similar, that a lot of the kids were going to buy it because they knew it was going to piss off their parents, and they knew that a lot of these kids were rebellious and this and that and other. So that's why they did a lot of these things. Of course, the Christians, they just didn't have a clue that a lot of the stuff was like tongue-in-cheek, and a lot of these bands took advantage of this, and more power to them. That's the way I look at it. Anyway, one of the songs that this religious program was picking on was a song called "Disturbing the Priest." And in that song, it has what's called a tritone in it. Now, if you've ever studied music theory, you know that a tritone is at one point it was called the devil's interval because of the weird sound that it makes. If you want to know what a tritone sounds like, if you've ever heard an English police car, the siren that goes off when they turn the siren on, that's a tritone. If you listen to Metallica's Enter Sandman, that's a tritone, the beginning of the song. if you listen to it, a lot of Metallica's music has a lot of tritones in it, and a lot of Slayer music has tritones in it, and it's not another. But I remember listening to this song because they were playing bits and pieces of the album Born Again on this religious program, and it had the opposite effect of, I guess, what they wanted the album to have on me. I guess it was supposed to like disgust me and whatnot, but being a young kid, I was like, dude, this music kicks ass. So instead of hating the album, or saying, oh, Black Sabbath is really evil, I'm gonna stay away from them, I went out and bought the album because it was so kick ass. So it had like the opposite effect on me, but I just thought it was highly humorous that a lot of these religious groups were saying that these heavy metal bands were in league with the devil. And when the chips are down, a lot of these heavy metal bands, they were, I would say 99% of them were not in league with the devil. At least back then they weren't. And they were just, trying to make money. A lot of these bands didn't know what they were singing about anyway. And the stuff that they were talking about was not Satanism. It was, as Alice Cooper would say, it's not Satanism, it's Halloween. That's what they're, talking about, and it's not another. So, in all of these bands, well, I would say most of these bands back then, with the exception of someone like King Diamond, they really didn't know what they were singing about, or or whatnot. And if some of these bands if they did hit on something truly satanic, it was a lot of the times it was by accident. Okay, let me see, what else can I remember about the Satanic Panic? Oh, the PMRC. And that's a separate video blog altogether, but I will say a quick little something about the PMRC. The PMRC was called the, let me see if I can get it right, the Parents Music Resource Center. And the person that was heading the PMRC was Al Gore's wife, Tipper Gore. Apparently she had just bought, and this wasn't even heavy metal, she had just bought the Prince album Purple Rain for her daughter. And she bought it because it was, one of the best-selling albums at the time. And she didn't realize that the album had the song Darling Nikki on it. And the song Darling Nikki, those of you who've heard the song, I think that 99% of you guys have heard the song. It basically talks about masturbation, and I guess that sort of like pissed Tipper Gore off. So she started the what's this called now, the Parents Music Resource Center thing, and they actually went to Senate and had Senate hearings about rock and roll because they wanted to censor it, and they wanted to put labels on music and this and that and other, because they didn't want the fragile young minds of the youth listening to this evil music and whatnot. But I definitely remember that. I wish I had some more time to go into this on this video, but actually running out of time. So I think in the future I will do a video blog about the PMRC and what happened, and my views on what happened during this time. But yeah, the Satanic Panic, I definitely remember that, and hopefully those days will never ever come back, at least at the force that they were at back in the 80s. Anyway, thanks for listening, and until next time, love is the law. Peace.